Okay, so then we start. So you see, Subversion has a very long time now for getting an open source versioning control system, and in the last years, I think since 2009 or 10, there was a lot of misunderstandings about merging capabilities of Subversion, because Subversion introduced in Subversion 1.5 the merge tracking feature. And while the merge tracking feature makes a lot of things much easier than before, some forks, especially in the open source community, were sending messages that Subversion is not very well designed. The lead of these messages was Linus Torvalds, who make a very harsh appointment. So a lot of people were really getting unsure about if Subversion is the correct tool for working with version control, or if you have to switch off and change the tool. And this workshop is also showing you the limitations, but also the possibilities of doing version control and branching merging in Subversion itself in a classical server client system. So we will not go over every of these slides. This is a workshop. Is based on some kind of roadshow we made. It's a half-day workshop, so we will just flip over most of the slides. I think most of you already know most of the things. If you want to elaborate something of this, just give a question and answer message there, and I will elaborate more into this. Why you need branches, I think this should be clear. And there is one specialty: you have to be sure that you will not do this in Subversion. If you have different projects you have a software project and you have different project customizations for example, for different customers, then you shouldn't do this on a branch level in Subversion. Subversion is not really working well in this kind of hierarchies. So this is what we will later see as one of the limitations. So if you have different projects, so for example you are producing firmware for navigation devices in cars, and you have different brandings, for example an Audi brand and a BMW and a Chrysler, then you shouldn't do this by doing three different branches. Because in Subversion, if you have these three different branches, each of these branches cannot share or merge into one of the other branches. So you cannot branch a feature you implemented for Audi and merge it very easily into BMW. So this is one thing which is not really working well in Subversion. So this is one of the limitations. We will see later why it's difficult for Subversion to point this out and how you can work around with this. So merging with Subversion. Basically, what you need to understand about Subversion and merging is that merging is always working in all tools in the same way. If you want to do a merge, usually you will apply a diff. So this is a difference between two different file states or two different directory tree states. And this difference you will apply to a different file or to a different apply state. So this basically means if you know already the Unix tool diff, then you may also know the Unix tool patch. So basically what Subversion is doing is always a diff and a patch, and these both tools are deeply inside the Unix community, so every Unix user knows them very well. So, and basically all versioning systems are working on this same kind of merging or difference algorithm in the base. So the most important thing you need to know is that you need three different parameters to perform a branch. So the first one is that you need the target where you want to merge into. So this is usually in Subversion your working copy, and it should point to some place, like here it's the trunk. So the two other parameters, the second and the third one, are the two different states of your file or your tree you want to merge the differences from. So if you are talking with people, a lot of people are talking about, I want to merge this branch into my trunk. And usually this is some kind of very lazy term to merge a branch into the trunk, because what you really want to do is you want to do all changes you did in your branch. You want to take all these changes, and these changes you want to put into the trunk. You don't want to take the whole branch into the trunk, because this doesn't make any sense, because either this would be meaning that you will only take all files in the specific state of this version into the trunk by replacing all the changes you made in the trunk in between, which is not correct, or it means that you have all files in a double state, so because all the files are in both of these structures. So basically you need these three different parameters, the target, and then two different revisions or versions of your work, and you create the difference, and I created the difference here by this delta. So I take this delta and this delta here, having one delta of these both, and I will apply this delta to my working copy, which is pointing to a different place. Both places are still have a common ancestor, which is at the moment here revision 2, which is also very important that the files itself have a common ancestor. We will see this later on as well, why it's important to have this. So when we have here delta 8, these delta 8 are all the changes I made here and here. For example, I can add here some kind of if clause in my code, and here I can create some kind of new variable. And then both of these lines I added here, they will be added into my Subversion source code in my working copy from revision 5 here. So if I have here any lines change which are getting into conflict with these both, I get here a conflict inside the merge, and I have to resolve this conflict by either pointing here into saying these lines which I created here were right, or these lines I created here were right. So basically this is the same handling than what I see in Subversion by updating my working copy. So we have three different things, three different operation modes for merging in Subversion, and you can see this very easily in the Tortoise SVN client. I will show you all things in the Tortoise SVN client as well. And these three items will show you the three different parameters to be set to perform the different merges, and these different merges will just have different pre-installed functions for supplying these three parameters here. So the first thing is to merge a range of revisions. So this is pretty the most simple version of this. So merge a range of revisions just means, wait one moment, I don't have a picture here of these. So I now give you a share screen of my desktop window. So, and if I place there in Windows Explorer, should be fine to work there with my subtrain. So I have here created already a repository. You see here is my repository, and I've created also some kind of bug fix branch here, and this bug fix branch is also already here inside my trunk. So if I see here in the version history, you see here in the revision 16, I have here made a bug fix branch, which is showing me here the changes in my branch, and here you see the changes in trunk, which are basically just the changes here merged into this. So what we are doing now is we have here our trunk, and we will perform a simple merge like this bug fix branch again. So I'm just doing an update here. having here some kind of main text file, which is already bug fixed. So, and I'm just looking for not switching here. So you see this is pointing to trunk. So I'm working on my trunk file. And I just create a branch now. So this is pretty easy. Just go here to the branch tag. And we just going here to the branches folder and give this a new name. It's called webinar. Okay, so we are still staying here on our trunk. So I create here more development webinar. So this is some kind of marker so that we see that there is something happening. Done in webinar. Committed in trunk. So, and here we create a new file, which is now the webinar text. Okay, so I will do the commit here. Sorry. So you see here I'm pointing still to trunk, saying now here, okay. And we have created a new revision 24. So, what's next? Next thing is I want to go into this branch. I have here another working copy. And I take this one here and do a switch. So taking the switch to branch, webinar. Okay. There is a question about this. There is a copy of this presentation. The presentation is online available for free. It's part of the Subtrain program, and it's available under it's subtrain.tigris.org. I can show you this here, just here. So this was the Subversion home before it was given to Apache Software Foundation, and you see here there is our Subtrain program, which is there is one part is the branching workshop we already see here. So here is now Harry, and he has the version without the changes which were done in the webinar, and he has also no webinar file here because he is working here directly on the branch. So you see there is branches webinar. So what he does is he just goes here and will place here some kind of webinar feature from branch. And also what we are doing is we are creating here a new text file, which is our branch text file. No plus sign, please. Okay, so we will add this as well. So I will do here now a commit, and just for the demonstration I will do some more commits than one, adding more lines in branch. Okay, and now we are doing commit. Okay, so we have now our branch here, and we have here our project. So basically what we can do is we can look into the revision graph here. And you see here we created here the revision 23. It was our revision where we created the branch. Then I made some changes in 24 on trunk, and then I made other changes here in 25 and 26 to make it now the final state where we want to perform a merge. So what we now want to do the merge is exactly what we saw here. We have here these versions, but this is 23 by creating the branch, and we have 25 and 24 and 25 in our branch, and here we have another, I think it was 23, and this was 22. Just looking around here, what we had before. Yeah, this was 22, and then this was 23, the branch creation, and here we had a 24, 25, and 26. So basically, I hope this will be clear when we are going here, what to merge a range of revisions is. So basically, a range of revisions to be merged is just that I declare, or that I say I want to merge from 26 to 23, for example. This is a range of revisions. So we are doing this now. So we are going to Sally because we want to merge into trunk. So I am here on the Sally working copy. I say I want to merge, and I say I want to merge a range of revisions. You see, this is the same picture here. I go to next, and what I want to branch is not the bug fix branch. This is already done. I want to branch the webinar branch here, this one. Okay, and what I want to merge is a range of revisions. So here I see now all merges are all revisions I can merge. So what I want to have is basically 23 to 26. I can leave 23 out of this because 23 is just the creation of these items, but it doesn't matter. So we can just have this here inside, and we can leave everything here, and we can just test the merge, and you see he will add the branch file, which was created on the branch. He will update, and he says there is no conflict inside there, so I think this should be fine. So I just do the test merge, which is also a very good practice to do this before, because if you got some kind of conflicts, you could try to go back and here fiddle around with the revisions so that you maybe merge a lot of things already without any conflict, and then process the conflict, the conflict revisions by manual work. Then that is much easier than if you have to look everywhere for the conflicts. So now we do the merge, and you see this is exactly the same output. We see here now our changes. We see here the lib branch. We see the main text. And you see here is my text I filled in. So this is quite what we expected. And interesting here is on the Sally directory, there is a modification of the property. So, and this is where Subversion stores the merge information. So it stores now, here you see my path and the revisions. So you see this is what Subversion is calling the merge tracking. And this is very important to understand, that Subversion will assist us a lot of times by using this information. And if you fill there the wrong kind of information inside this merge tree, inside this merge information, so this is the property svn clone merge info, then a lot of things can go wrong, and you will really curse the day when you introduce Subversion. It's very important that you understand how this merge info is working, and this is all this workshop is about. So I just merge here. So, and I don't really have to name here the branch or something like this, because everything is written down in the merge in the merge history. And what I see here is now the trunk is out of date because I made a change here as well, and I committed the change, but I didn't do an update before. So Subversion told us SVN just did the update now, and now I just can do the commit again. So now I see here is my commit at 27. And if I look in the version history here now, we can see that we have merge a branch. So Basically, this is an integration. Let me say here, include merged revisions. I see here, these are my changes I merged into it. So I can still see here what kind of changes were placed here into my commit. So this is about the first thing here, merge a range of revisions. This is basically the simplest kind of merge operation you have to do. And usually you do this automatically all the time, because you do this all the time by pressing in your working copy the update button. The update button itself is just something like a merge operation between your working copy and the commits which already happened on the repository server. So by this you can see that your working copy is some kind like a branch for the Subversion system. It has a specific state and it has a specific revision. So basically, if you say update, he looks for your master branch, which is the place where your working copy is pointing into. So this is in my place, the Sally is pointing to trunk, and looks if there are new revisions were committed since your last update. And if so, he just merges them into your working copy. So you know this already, so you know all these things which can go wrong by conflicts. And this is all the same can go wrong by merging itself as well. So this is basically the first and simplest way to merge. And this is not very interesting in itself, except that you will do this as some kind of basic work for doing the next one, which is the reintegrate branch. Basically, what we did now is just something like a bug fix branch. A bug fix branch is very easy to do because a bug fix branch, like we did this here, will not merge into the different direction. So, for example, if you have a feature branch, so you see here, if this is a bug fix branch, I have a very old version, and I have more work done from in my trunk current development, and I find a bug inside an old release. I can fix the bug in my branch I created from the tag. Here, this is a tag from release 3, from revision 3. And I will not have to merge all my development, which is happening in between, to my branch, because it's just a bug fix I created on the old revision. And if I created this and fixed the bug, I can merge the changes into my current state, which I do here. But there is only one merge operation here, and this is going only in one direction. If you have a feature branch is much more complex in handling, because a feature branch usually takes more time. And usually, if it takes more time, the developers working on this feature want to be kept in sync by the current development. So what they are doing is they will merge the changes in trunk sometimes into their specific branch. So that they see all the changes which were happening in trunk, and will see this inside their own feature branch. So what you have then here is a much more complex story, because you will have your own work done on the feature branch here and here, and you have also some kind of revisions here and here, which are not really work you did on your feature branch, but which is some kind of copy work, which is just merged into your feature branch by merging from your trunk into your branch. So this means if you merge back later on, you don't want to have this revision 10 and revision 8. You want only revision 6 and 9. But unfortunately, you may change some lines in 8 and in delta 10 in these ones, just because you have to resolve some kind of conflicts. So, and for this workflow, because it's very complicated to do this by changing a range, by doing a merge a range of revisions. If you do a merge a range of revisions, you could say, I want to take this revision 6 and revision 9, and I don't want to take revision 8 and revision 10 because I have it already here. But sometimes you solved here some kind of conflicts inside these revisions, and these conflict solutions will not end up then inside your merge in revision 11. So basically what you will then get here is not the current really kind of work you want to do. Also, you may have to resolve the conflicts you have here already resolved. You have to resolve here again. And if your feature branch is taking some kind of time, you don't want to resolve conflicts more than once. So what we have to do here is some kind of much more intelligent merge tracking. And what Subversion is doing here for this is the reintegrate branch function. And the reintegrate branch function is you are working in the same way than before. You just apply some very easy to understand limitations. And merging this one here, you will work on the function reintegrate a branch. Then you just choose the branch you want to reintegrate, and everything else is done automatically, and it's also conflict-free. So how is this done? We're doing this now. So we have here on Harry, we're just doing an update. We have the branch, and we have here on Sally, we have the branch already reintegrated. So I can start with the work here now, and we just can think of having... Oh, there is a question. Is the question from Marisol about Word and Excel? So, no. Subversion cannot merge binary files. There is no way to work with binary files in Subversion. What you can do is you can add your own, by the settings, you can add your own external tools here, and you can add also some kind of external tools for differences and for merge, and they can some kind of do a little bit of this work for you, but usually this is not working in a very good way. So here you can, for example, add, if you have some kind of magic Excel script merge tool, you just can write here SLX, and then you write the path to your program. So, for example, by doing this, you could incorporate this executable, and always, if you want to merge an Excel script, we will call this tool for this, and he will give you the 3 different versions you want to compare, and the version you want to merge into it, and then this program can usually try to perform the merge. But there is no built-in support for this. Tortoise SVN has some kind of support to call some kind of JavaScript, which will call the different Office packages for some kind of different view, but they are not working so well for this. So if you have binary files, usually this is not really very easy to do, and I usually would recommend to use the locking feature in Subversion, so that you lock the files and do not change them. For example, do not change them then on branches, if you have them on branches. So if there are more questions about this, okay, so there's another question from, I'm sorry, I mean to open text merge file. Okay, so you just want to see the open file. So, do you want to see this one? I hope this is correct here. It's really, really difficult to have no one speaking with me. So just give me a second. Jeff and Mike?
Yes.
I just unmute you again. Sorry, I didn't want to mute you. So if there is some kind of questions, you just can give me some kind of voice hint. So it's much easier for me to see this, because I cannot follow the Q&A very easily.
Okay, what would you like to have? What do you need?
No, if there is some kind of more information going on and they need some kind of more questions answered from the audience, then I just need some kind of audio hint.
Okay,
so
we'll do that.
We'll do our best.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So this is basically the file which is which is the result of the last merge. So you see, here is the change from the trunk, and here's my webinar from my branch, the file from the line from my merged into it. And you see here also the file which is coming from the branch, and here's the file from the trunk. I don't have here inside the branch, I don't have the webinar file here inside. You see, there is the webinar file. I created this only in trunk, and it's not here in my branch. And also in my branch is here in the main text file. There is no more development done in webinar committed in trunk. This file is also not here, because I merged only the branch into the trunk. I didn't do this in the other direction. So this is what I want to show you now, because this is now this kind of arrow I want to follow, and this is called the sync merge. So how do you share files among different projects? We will come to this later on about sharing files in different projects. Give me for this some kind of 5 minutes at the end. Okay? So just remember these questions, and I want to answer this later, because it's not really doing something in Subversion. It's nothing, has nothing to do with the branching, except that it's not working. If you do externals, it's not working in the branch. So I have now here my branch, and now I show you some kind of magic. I want to do the sync, so I want to have this file here, this file webinar. I want to have the changes here, more development done in webinar, merged into my branch, because I want to keep this branch in the most current state. So what I can do is here now, I can try to say merge a range of revisions. Say no, I want to go to trunk. And I leave this empty and do a test merge. Yeah, this is not working. Right, because I have to create a new branch. So let's start here by updating this one. And we are creating now a feature branch. Okay. So I created the feature branch, still staying here on my trunk and going here to my, switching this one to my feature branch. Okay, so you see there is now the webinar added here, and now there is these changes inside. So what we are doing is, in the branch itself, we create some kind of more lines here. So new line in branch. So this is some kind of a feature we are doing here, part of feature. And we do the same here in our, for example, in our webinar text. It's an empty file, so we just can change here, add more lines for webinar trunk. Keep in mind, your IDE should do this automatically. Always add an empty line at the end of a text file, so then its merging for Subversion is easier. So, okay, now we can commit here the Sally. Now we have here just added a line. Okay, and we can do here this and do a committed branch. Okay, so now we have committed everything here. So you see there is nothing here, and here is nothing as well. And what I want to have is, I want to have these changes Sally made here, because they are maybe very interesting. I can also do some changes here as well, so I can have more than this. So I save this now, and I commit this as well. No, this is not part of the feature. Okay. Okay, so now I want to have these changes here. And in Tortoise SVN, I just go to merge. And I choose merge a range of revisions here. And now I go to trunk, because I want to get all things from trunk. And I don't give anything here. I could look here into this, but there are too many of these. I don't know what I want to have here. So I just leave it empty. I just say no. Next, I go text, and you see, oh, that's interesting. He takes the library text and the webinar text. These are the changes I made before. So, and I merge this. Okay. And now if I look here into the commit, I see, yeah, these are the changes which are important for my features I searched for in trunk. And here, this is also changes in trunk. And if I look in Harry, I see, okay, trunk 28 to 31. He merged for me. So this is the merged information. So I just write sync merge from trunk. Yeah, okay, I need to update this, of course. This is done automatically. Okay. So now what we want to do here is, I could do here more changes. So of course this is not very complicated, it's just the same. So I could here add a new line for this, and I think this is, all of you believe me that this is not a big problem. What's more interesting is if I do something here in the trunk, for example, and do here a commit, and if I want to have this here in my, I want to merge this here in my branch as well. I want to have this in my branch here as well. I just do here a commit. It's always a good practice to not leave any local modifications of your files uncommitted before performing a merge. So I will do here some kind of feature nearly finished. Okay, so I do an update. This is also best practice, doing an update before I do a merge. Otherwise, you see always this nasty your working copy is out of date message. So now I want to get all the information from trunk. I take again merge a range of revisions. Here is trunk again. I leave this empty. Going to next. Test merge is always a good idea just to see. Okay, and I get a modification on main.text. So what's this? So I see here main.text, and it's exactly the line which is coming here, which is were done in the trunk. So how this is working? How is this working? This is working because Subversion keeps track of my merges already. So he sees 28 to 31 is already merged, so he doesn't need to merge anything older than 31. He will only start to merge later than 31. So here he starts to merge 30 until 34. So you record the merge here for later. So if I later take without any empty revision numbers, he just take this as well. So here I'd just say sync merge, and I'm done again. Okay, so and now is the magic happening. So here I can develop my feature now, and if I need something from my trunk, so this is basically these lines, I just say I want to merge from trunk into my feature branch. My feature branch is usually I have to check it out, and I don't give any revision numbers. I just say just keep it in sync. And so this is what we did here. So you see, I just say merge a range of revision. Next, I say trunk, and I just leave this empty. And if I do this now, I think you know already there's nothing happening anymore because there is no things to merge. So, and now we want to do this going back here. And for doing this, I just go here to Sally, make an update. So Sally should be no modifications here. So this is just the last debug here that it's showing the wrong item. So maybe it's fixed, but so now it's here. Okay, now I want to get all the information I have here made in my branch, my feature basically, and put it into the trunk again. So this feature is finished. So what I do now is I say merge, and now I go to the reintegrated branch. Go to next, and now I have to choose here which branch I want to have, and this is exactly which one. I have to point this webinar feature branch. Now I go to next. I can leave this everything as it is. I can use a test merge, and this looks fine. I can do a merge here. He's recording the merge, saying OK. And if I see the commit, I see inside the main text, here are my parts of the feature. So I have just copied these lines. I could also add more files and stuff like this, but basically he doesn't see that, he doesn't take these lines which are already in trunk and just giving me the changes I'm interested in. So I just can say now reintegrate. Okay. So, and by doing this now, I reintegrated this branch here into my trunk. And how this is happening is requiring some limitations in Subversion. And this is what I want to talk to you in the next 5 minutes. So basically, first of all, did you understand what we did before? So can you see this inside this diagram? You see the actions we did. So we did this sync merges, and we did the changes here, and we did finally the reintegrate branch here, the reintegrate merge here. So this is very important that you understand the two different kind of merges. So this is some kind of this is called the sync merge, which is just saying I take a merge range of revision with an empty revision selector, and this one is saying I want to reintegrate, which is just giving me the dialog option to say I just have to choose here the branch. There is no revision selector as well. So basically, what Subversion then does is it just looks inside the merge tracking of this branch for the last revision you synced. So this is in this diagram, it's 7. And then it makes a difference between 7 and between 10. And the difference between 7 and 10 is exactly the changes you made in your branch by doing your feature implementation and by resolving conflicts, which were not part of the demonstration here. So, by all the changes you made here and your changes for confliction solutions are all changes which are then here inside the difference. And this difference between 7 and 10 is then applied to the merge of the reintegration. And there is a bonus feature if you synced here the last revision inside the trunk, so you have no any revisions here left, you didn't sync into your branch, then this merge will always come for free, because there could not be any change you have here not inside, which could cause any conflicts. So basically, this is very ideal for feature branching and doing the reintegration by integration manager, which is not really heavily involved in the development of the features itself. So this would be very nice that he can then just reintegrate. And if there is a conflict, then the conflict must happen because here's another commit coming into the trunk and this is causing a conflict. And then he just can give back the feature branch to the persons, to the feature team, and say you just have to do another sync. The sync will cause a conflict, resolve the conflict, and then giving it back to me, and I can test it. So there are more limitations to do this. You must not leave any of this revision out of the sync. So for example, if I leave out the revision 5 and I just merge revision 7 here, the reintegrate branch will check this and he will say, no, it's not working. Because what's happening if I leave revision 5 out is the changes which were made in revision 5 will be merged out of version 11. Because what we are doing is we're taking the revision 10, the state of the branch in revision 10, and we will remove everything from which is in the state of trunk in revision 7. So if we have not have this inside, this will be getting a minus because we have it in trunk, but we will not. These lines will not end up here, so they will be removed then from this last state here. So this means you need here a continuous range of different of sync merges, and this will be done automatically by just using the built-in Subversion merge a range of revisions here. So if you say here merge a range of revisions and just leave it empty, then you will get all the merges inside automatically. So this is very easy. There is another thing which is a little bit more complicated if you don't know this, and this is you don't do any subtree merges. So for example, I cannot do a merge on this directory. So if I do here a merge on this directory, and I do here webinar on this one. So if I do this here and do a merge, so basically what I'm ending up here is, and this is not the way you should do this, this is already merged, but you see, now I have here a merge tree info in my libs folder. So if I have a different merge info in my libs folder, there is no place I can really make a difference between these two states. So this is very important that you don't have any subtree merge info. So this one here we have to revert. So we revert this, because otherwise we will not can do any reintegration at all anymore. So this is not working in this way. And there is another limitation, and this is a limitation of sorry, I closed this window. And this is a limitation. After I do a reintegration, I cannot work on the feature anymore. So because I reintegrated all changes here in the trunk, so I cannot sync anymore back. Because if I do a sync here back, I will sync all the changes here into my trunk again. So this will be creating large confusions. So what I have to do is I have to delete.
We have a question.
Yes, okay.
I'm reading this question, wouldn't 7 on trunk contain changes made in 5? So why would they be minused in 11 after reintegration?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's very important to understand. So what we are talking here is, it's not the changes in 7, it's the state. So what we are talking, if we do a range of revisions, we are talking about the change inside these revisions. That's correct. But if we do a reintegrate, we do the reintegrate between the state, which is the branch in revisions 10. So we are not talking about the different revision changes. We are talking about the state. And we are talking about the state in 7. Yes? And if we are doing a difference between these both, and say I have added a line, which is just a Polarian line. So we say just a Polarian line, we added here in line 5. And this line is not here inside this file because I didn't merge this. So if I make difference between this and this, you will see that the difference will show up, remove line 5 Polarian, because it's not here, it's here, but it's not here. So this minus this will remove this line. And if I merge this back here into this version in the trunk where this line is already there, it will be just removed. Is this understandable? I can create this file for you as well if this is made much easier. So say I have a file here which there is some kind of text. And here's my Polarian. And there is more files. So this is the state in revision 7. So this is revision 7. And I just take this one and take this. So basically, if I want to diff these both files, the result will be, if I take this and remove and take this as a subtraction, I get a difference where there stands a minus here. So this is removed to get this one. And if I replace this on here on the trunk where this file is already having this line, I will remove this line. So this is how this merging and the delta and the differences are working. So basically, I can also show you this, saving this file. Yeah, document 1, document 2, and I think I have here some kind of compare files. Okay. So you see, this is going into, and if you see it from the other direction, it's going out. And what I have is I compare 10 where it's not inside, and I compare with 7 where it's inside, and this means it's going out. Because this is missing here, and everything what's inside here we want to have here, but this means everything which is not inside here and it's not inside here will be removed here as well. I hope this is getting a little bit more clear, so I can doing this here, this could also.
If I may interrupt, I just mention that there is a time constraint here. We are right at 12:30, but we have one last question.
Yes.
After the reintegration, why does the branch need to be deleted?
Yeah. Actually, there is no. This is also the last thing I want to make sure that you understand this. You don't have to delete it, but what you have to keep track of is if you want to use the branch itself again further. So if I take this now and work here and trying to do the next, this is not working anymore. In my way, it's working because I don't have any conflicts. But what you have to do is you have to only record the merge. And by doing this, you will record this merge. So here you see this is 36, which is coming from here. So this revision 11, if you want to sync this back by a sync merge, automatically it will create all the conflicts you have already solved here. And this conflicts will cause you then havoc. So what you have to do is you either delete the branch and create a new, or you have to do an empty merge by just using only record the merge. So basically what you do is you just say you want to do a merge like I did this here, merge a range of revision, keep it empty, and then just say only record the merge. And then inside the merge info, this revision 11 will be recorded here as already merged, but the changes are not inside because these both revisions are already the same. Because I take this one, 10, subtracted 7, and placed everything in 11. So this means 11 and 10 are always equal. So I need just to make sure that in the feature branch there is nothing inside which is causing a conflict for taking the revision 11 into this. So I just make an empty, only record the merge into the feature branch. And this step can be automatically done, or I can delete the feature branch and create it automatically. Okay, so you can take this subtrain branching workshop from the download, and you see all the conditions for the reintegration are on this slide. So basically you can just use this slide and taking these information for getting the feature or the reintegration branch working. So I hope that you like it, and if you have questions, I'm still keeping in the loop, and you can still forward questions to me via email or stuff like this. Okay.
I see one active question, and that is when you do the empty merge, would you create a version 12?
Yes. If I do an update here, no. You mean this one, the 11. So I create here the merge which will be created the 11. If I create now a sync merge back into the feature branch, this will be 12, this is right, but this 12, between 10 and 12, there is no change in the file contents. There is no possible change, and that's why I can also say just record only the merge, but Subversion thinks, because the Subversion tracking is not going so well into this detail, it's not really checking that this is still the same operation. He just thinks, oh, there is a lot of changes coming in, and tries to merge these changes back into the branch. It doesn't see that these changes are already coming from the branch, because the feature branch does not record that where the changes are coming from. So just taking the changes from trunk, and he sees there's a new revision 11. He has to merge, and this revision 11 consists of changes from some other branch, which is per accident itself. So he cannot drop these changes. So he just tries to merge all the changes already done inside the branch already into it, so that that's why you have to call it only record the merge. The results are still the same. You have here 2 revisions, and if you create another one, you have 3 revisions with all the same content states.
With that, I see no more active questions in the dialog box.
Okay. So just a small mention about the externals. I promised this. So I just want to say there is no concept for reuse in Subversion, and if you use the externals, that's fine, but usually you will get a lot of problems by using branches because the externals are not branched as well. So basically you should only use externals if you want to connect different repositories. You should not use externals for using some kind of dependency management. If you want to use some kind of dependency management, the Subversion community says this is not a problem of the version control system, it's a problem of the build system. So basically they say that's not part of their design. So, and I made a very bad experience with the externals. Unfortunately, this is not part of this workshop, but basically most of the people I met agree that you should not use the externals for any dependency management, but you should use some kind of XML or JSON files which are directly inside your version control system and control which part of the repository you want to check in or check out to which place, and then use this as part of the dependency management. Okay, so it was fun to have you all here, and hopefully we will see us on the next webinar again. And yes, thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.